From a sick and sadistic mummy to a creature that can possess your dreams, here are the top 5 scary Trevor Henderson creatures that should be in a horror movie. Number 5 on this list is Bellringer. Bellringer honestly reminds me of Siren Head's evil cousin. The Trevor Henderson wiki describes it as a human-like figure standing in a dimly lit room. Where it originated is unknown. The entirety of the creature, minus the arms, appears to be a mere skeleton held together by some sort of fully encompassing web-like material, possibly muscular tissue or mucus. Its body is entirely comprised of uneven ribs down to the pelvis and is connected to a spinal cord and columns that appear to be smoothly bent in a zigzag line, starting at the back of the torso, then the front, then the back again. The creature's chest area has a very large and wide rib cage, getting smaller the further down you go. It has about 11 ribs on its right side and 13 ribs on its left side. The ribs on its right side are longer than its left. So that's the description, and it also doesn't even begin to describe what's on its freaking head though. Where Siren Head very clearly has sirens, Bellringer has a single bell like the ones you might see in school with a ringer protruding from its neck. It's extremely unsettling and could definitely be used in a horror film. Now, not much is known about the abilities this creature possesses, but that could be kind of a cool thing. Maybe part of the movie is trying to figure out what the hell this thing is and how it works. I honestly get a lot of zombie apocalypse vibes if this was to be the main antagonist in a horror film. Like, instead of just having one Bellringer, there are like multiple of them attacking. The origin of this creature is unknown as well, but it feels as if it's something from an alternate dimension, you know? Like maybe some students accidentally open up a portal to another dimension, sort of like in the show Stranger Things, and then like a bunch of these creatures just start coming out and attacking a small town. If a bunch of these things started running and like ringing at me, I'd definitely freak the hell out, so I feel like the movie could have some real scary potential. Number 4 on this list is the Man in the Red Room. The Man in the Red Room is also commonly referred to as the Thing in the Red Space, and maybe this is a bit more accurate because calling this thing a man, it seems like a bit of a stretch. The wiki says the Man in the Red Room depicts a horrifically disfigured creature with a somewhat human-like shape dangling upside down, coming out of a ceiling in a heavily red-lighted room. The wrangled form appears to be made of a number of meaty strands of varying thickness which connect and intertwine with each other in order to form a body that resembles a short humanoid shape with bent legs, long arms, and numerous holes. These strands of flesh also share visual similarities with the mycelium of a fungus in the way that they're connected and positioned. The wiki then goes on to talk about this creature's abilities and say the creature does not appear to follow the conventional laws of physics as evident by its levitating jaw and ceiling phasing means of movement, meaning it has some sort of relatively powerful supernatural force. Speaking of which, it also appears to have the unique ability to manipulate people's dreams to see what it is going through, as well as somewhat communicate with them through it, as shown in the captions of the 2 images. In both posts, the person describes their dream in unusually great detail and also acquired knowledge that they would no possible way to get from what is visually shown in the dream. It is possible that it's using the person's dreams in some way to aid it in its goal to escape the warehouse that it's trapped in. And I mean, like, bam, just like that, we got our movie premise. It's thought that this creature is trapped inside of a warehouse, so maybe in this horror movie it starts communicating with somebody through their dreams, and somehow through the actions of this person it's communicating with gets released from the warehouse prison and like brought into the real physical world. Then a group of people need to stop this fleshy, otherworldly demon creature from feasting on humans or something like that. Or maybe it starts taking over human people through their dreams and having them act for it in the real world. Or even better, somehow someone or some group gets sent to this warehouse dimension and then they have to escape before the Thing in the Red Space gets them. Comment down below what you think about my suggestions and how you see a horror movie with this thing playing out. Number 3 on this list is Dummy. Making a horror movie about the dummy would probably be one of the easiest to write because its hobby, as written by the Trevor Henderson wiki, is killing people. It's pretty easy to write a scary movie if the main antagonist is a creepy looking dummy that likes murdering humans. This thing also has so many different ways to murder you if it wants. The wiki writes, it can produce a powerful aura that kills living things around it and has a rot-inducing touch that can cause humans to rot. causes all living organisms around it to die like the effects of radiation, possibly able to just cause bad luck all the way up to breaking reality and other ailments like many monsters can do. So honestly, this thing sounds pretty OP if you ask me. I get visions of this dummy being on like a different planet or something like that. I'm not sure why, but I see it in this dark, deadly planet where it's got this like massive castle, kind of like Dracula or something, and it's got like a huge operation out there where it's like killing humans of some kind. Then we get these like space explorers who go there and they get stuck on this planet, and then you have to like save all the humans from this evil dummy. You could also just go down the Chucky rabbit hole and see where that takes you, but I feel like this thing is more powerful than Chucky and has more potential to take it even further. Either way, a movie with it would definitely be very scary. Number 2 on this list is the sewer spider. Alright, so I'm gonna start this out by saying that I absolutely hate spiders, guys. Like, by far my least favorite animal and probably the biggest phobia that I have. That's honestly why I had to include the sewer spider on this list. Like, the image is of 4 very long spider legs and a bit of its belly. The legs look really massive and give the viewer the impression that this arachnid is just huge. It also probably isn't one of a kind either. The Trevor Henderson wiki writes, judging by the caption provided by Trevor, the creature shown is not one of a kind, but one of many arachnids that inhabit the sewer systems of the city. It's unknown if the spiders inhabiting the sewers are a single species or multiple species of different spiders, though it's most likely the latter. It also tells us that the creature is aggressive or predatory, comparing them to alligators. Now, how this creature got this big is currently unknown, but I see some real potential for a movie here. Some radioactive material spills into a sewer somehow and lands on a bunch of spider eggs. Then these things hatch and you end up with like a bunch of massive spiders just living underneath like New York City or something. Maybe people start to go missing and no one has any idea how it's happening until they enter the sewers and find all these things down there. I also see a climax where the spiders are like out of the sewers now and they're just rampaging through the streets of Manhattan, like eating everybody in sight. Almost kind of like a Planet of the Apes thing, but way more scary with a bunch of massive spiders. And finally, number 1 on this list is Fencer. If you're a fan of slasher movies, then you should be pulling to get a movie starring Fencer. This guy would make for an awesome slasher character. Just listen to this origin story from the wiki. Trevor has given us a surprising amount of information about the Fencer's origins, at least compared to the other slashers. He is said to have actually been a human at one point, but unlike other cryptids who used to be a human, Fencer did not undergo any sort of major transformation, nor did he become a ghost. Instead, Fencer was a student fencing champion that was extremely skilled in the sport. During one particularly intense match, he had suffered a fatal injury. A wealthy rival team had sabotaged him, presumably out of jealousy of his skills and position as a champion. It's assumed that they had actually used a real sword during their match, injuring him. While he was injured, they left him for dead and hid him in a place where people wouldn't be able to find his body. They then started a fire that was staged to look like an accident, where he burnt painfully, leading to his grotesque appearance. However, despite his fatal injury and scorching burns, Fencer refused to die. During the fire, he eventually got up as if he was never injured and then ran off, looking for the people who sabotaged him and killing anyone who gets in his way. Like, that is freaking elite, guys, and honestly, there's a movie right there. The first third of the movie we could just watch as this guy is training to be the fencing champion, and then have a total 180 shift when the other fencers try to kill him. Then it turns into this evil revenge story where this guy needs to murder his enemies with his fencing sword. Like, just that image of a bloodied fencer with 3rd-degree burns coming after you gives me goosebumps. Slasher movies pretty much always paint the slasher as the bad guy, but if we actually watched as this guy got messed up by a bunch of other students, then I feel like we'd feel for him a little bit. Obviously, revenge is never the answer, but I bet you could spin this movie in a way where the protagonist is the slasher. Kind of like a horror movie version of Kill Bill, where we watch Fencer chase down his enemies. I don't know, folks. Comment down below what you think, but I think that'd be pretty legendary. Well, there you have it, guys. That is our list of the top 5 Trevor Henderson creatures that should be in a horror movie. Please comment down below what you thought about this and some other Trevor Henderson characters you think deserve a feature film. Also, if you hadn't noticed, I did leave Siren Head off the list. I know that it's the most famous, but I feel like everyone knows it, and I wanted to shine the light on some other scary creatures who deserve a horror movie. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. I've been your host, Nicholas Blaylog, and I'll catch you next time.